Here's a bit of what we have for you today on CBC Vancouver News.
I don't think we're anywhere close to the top.
Another blow to your wallet. So why are gas prices climbing higher than ever?
I miss a lot my family. I want to go back.
And as Canada gets set to change its travel rules, a sigh of relief from one group yearning to see family after years apart.
It has been a challenge. Up to date, we have spent more than 1.4 million hours of work.
And how the Port of Vancouver is hoping to tackle delays and supply issues for many of the items you're trying to get your hands on.
This is CBC Vancouver News.
Good afternoon. Well, if you fill up to your car tank recently, perhaps there's been a bit of shock. The price of gas has been at more than $1.80 per liter in some places this week. And so we start today with our Joel Ballard, who is looking at what's behind the sky-high prices and what the government is doing about it.
The price keeps rising and rising and rising.
During the pandemic, everyone just starts getting juiced for all their money. It's unreal.
Gas in the Lower Mainland has been hovering between $1.70 and $1.80 per liter all week.
I think the groceries started and then the gas, and you can see it is staying.
Experts say the high prices are being felt globally, not just in BC.
It can be both global and local factors at play, but right now it's all a global market. The price of crude oil has reached levels we haven't seen since 2014.
Jumping to $95 a barrel this week. And Wheeler says it comes down to supply and demand. And because of the growing tensions over conflict in Ukraine, the demand is high.
If there is an escalation of tensions, then it will have repercussions on the global oil market. So everybody is trying to make sure they have enough supply now.
So what's being done locally to calm the market? If you ask the opposition, the BC Liberals, not enough.
The Premier needs to be forthright with people and tell us exactly what he is going to do to bring the price of gas down. We've seen it increase year over year over year. As I say, the average fill for a family vehicle is now $45 a fill more under his watch than it was previously.
The topic has been top of mind for years. In 2019, a public inquiry commissioned by the government found the gas market in BC was not truly competitive, and a comparison between wholesale gas in Vancouver versus Washington State found a significant unexplained difference in price.
The unexplained 13 cents a litre amounted to a total cost to British Columbians of close to $500 million. Yes, they were ripped off.
BC's Energy and Mines Minister says he will make sure that doesn't happen, but is offering no concrete steps aside from a long-term review.
We gave a direction to the BC Utilities Commission to collect retail price data and to come back and make recommendations to us about how we might better regulate the market for the benefit of British Columbians.
But in the meantime, it offers little relief.
I don't think we're anywhere close to the top.
Concerning for drivers whose finances are already being stretched thin. Joel Ballard, CBC News, Coquitlam.
Well, the BC government has unveiled its long-term economic plan for the province. It sets a target of filling 1 million job openings projected over the next decade. The first step is investing $136 million to build a new trades and technology complex at BCIT's Burnaby campus. 4 new buildings are expected to serve more than 12,000 students per year in more than 20 trades programs. Other priorities include getting all BC communities equipped with high-speed internet, creating opportunities for underrepresented entrepreneurs, increasing access to global markets, and expanding domestic manufacturing capabilities.
Whether it's small business diversification, whether it's our vibrant life sciences sector, whether it's our natural resources, which we continue to have in abundance but must be stewarded with a view to sustainability going forward, we need to focus all the while on inclusive growth and a clean economic recovery.
You're encouraged to participate in a survey to share your ideas and priorities on this plan, though the leader of the opposition will already tell you he's not a fan.
The only thing you cannot find in this so-called economic plan are any measurables, any benchmarks, any targets, nothing. There's nothing in there that addresses the issues that small business think about every day, that British Columbians think about every day, the issues around lack of affordable housing, the issues of skyrocketing gas prices. skyrocketing grocery prices.
The government says planned progress will be evaluated based on traditional indicators like GDP and job numbers, as well as measures of well-being such as affordable housing, post-secondary training, and poverty reduction. As travel testing rules change in this country, it has some looking ahead, planning to take a flight. You'll no longer need a PCR test to come back to Canada. Instead, it'll be that cheaper antigen test. And as Janella Hamilton tells us, one group in particular, international students, are applauding the move.
I miss my family a lot. Yeah.
It's been almost 2 years since this international student has seen her family in India. And while she yearns to visit her loved ones back home, as a low-income student, she can't afford to travel under current COVID-19 restrictions.
The PCR is so expensive for us. Already we spend lots of money when we have to go back to India.
Philbert Thomas is an international student from Jamaica. He says when he flew home a few months ago, it came at a cost in more ways than one.
I wanted to see my family, so I had to go through that process. Yes, as painstaking as it was, I just had to get it done. But yeah, it was costly, you know, financially, emotionally, time-wise. It's a lot.
But as of February 28th, the rules are changing. Soon you'll only need a much cheaper negative rapid antigen test administered by a lab or healthcare facility. Travelers can still be randomly selected for a PCR test, but will not have to quarantine while waiting for the results.
For many people, that's going to make a difference.
Not only for students, but traveling families as well.
The fact that the whole family doesn't have to do expensive PCR tests. Across the board, the average is about $150 to have that done. So that really adds up for families. The other thing is that for many families, especially with working parents, the welcome news of children aged 12 and under not needing to self-isolate for 14 days after they come home.
Meaning kids will no longer need to wait before going back to school or daycare. Unvaccinated travelers will continue to be tested on arrival. The government has also lifted the travel advisory, discouraging Canadians from traveling for non-essential reasons. Thomas says with the change of rules, he hopes to be able to visit his family more often, including his 1.5-year-old son.
I know that now it's a lot easier to go home and see my family, and that's what we all want. You know, we're here, we're enjoying Canada, we love the country, but we love our home as well.
A feeling shared by Jasmine, who says she's already started looking at flights to India. Janella Hamilton, CBC News, Surrey.
And today is the day that many changes come into effect for couples planning their weddings.
Just absolutely ecstatic for all couples in British Columbia that can actually have the wedding their way. You know, not minimizing getting married and having a beautiful ceremony, but, you know, couples want the reception and the dancing and all the bells and whistles.
The restrictions are lifted for events, changing capacity limits and allowing dancing for the first time in more than 2 years. Couples who were planning their weddings have had to change their plans several times over the course of the pandemic.
I have many friends that have had to change their plans. My sister pushed her wedding a year, and we didn't want to do that. We decided we're getting ready to get married, regardless of the regulations. We're going to get married, thinking we'll have 50 people, maybe wear some masks, and that's it. Not knowing in December that we would completely be sidelined.
With restrictions lifted, some couples say they are going back to their original plans before the Omicron restrictions came into effect. They are aware that the rules can change at any time and say they have backup plans just in case. Okay, I want to switch gears here a little bit because the other day I went down to the Port of Vancouver to check out some of the changes that are happening there that could have a big impact on you. Take a look. Many of us have experienced it. Delays on all sorts of products we're trying to get our hands on. It's all part of a global supply chain issue. But today I'm at the Port of Vancouver where there are 2 huge infrastructure projects happening, and they're meant to help solve part of the problem locally. Let's go check it out. Every Everything is interconnected, in a line from start to finish at the port. One project is to decrease wait times for truckers and trains to unload and pick up their goods. And the second is all about containers, storing them and getting them on and off ships more efficiently. It starts here with a new roundabout at the entrance.
On a normal day, there's about 1,000 trucks that passes through those gates here. They don't have to stop at a red light or at a stop sign. It makes them flow much better and having less time to travel.
A seemingly simple but important fix to begin easing truck congestion right at the start of the chain.
To enable a faster travel time and remove congestions due to rail crossings, we had to build this gigantic overpass here, 500 meters long. It was done in a very, very narrow corridor between an active rail line and then also another tail track that's used during the day. And it has been a challenge. Up to date, we have spent more than 1.4 million hours of work and we haven't had any lost time incident.
1.4 million hours of work over how many years?
Well, it's been 3 years of construction and we have another year of construction.
And now, as we drive further west at the port, this looks brand new and completely untouched. What are we looking at here?
So this is going to be the new entrance from a truck point of view, and it's going to connect to the overpass, and it's going to be provided with all the latest equipment in terms of processing of trucks.
So a truck comes in and they essentially scan their path and all their information will come up.
Yeah, all this is making the processing of trucks much, much faster than it used to be. Usually within 3 days, containers leave the terminal. That's our target.
Yeah.
At the moment, with a glut of containers, it's more like 7 days, a bit more.
Now let's look at what's changing with how containers are stored and how they're going to be moved more efficiently on and off ships.
So now we're stepping on to the expanded berth length. So we extended the berth lengths of the terminal by about 74 meters to a total of 724 meters. We have reclaimed land to create additional space to store containers. So we have capacity for about 2,200 more containers. So these two new cranes have just gone into service. They cost about $20 million each.
How important was it to get a crane like this that can handle a bigger ship?
It's absolutely critical. Worldwide ship sizes are increasing. To keep this terminal compatible with the larger size vessels, we need to increase the size of the cranes so they can reach out far enough to work on the vessel.
What do all these efficiencies mean for the everyday consumer?
The product or service that they need that originates from somewhere in Asia can make it to them faster and more efficiently and reliably on time.
And what kind of products are we talking about?
So this covers everyday consumer goods you use in your house, from furniture, automotive parts, clothing, electronics. There's an incredible amount of goods that we consume here in North America that originate from other places in the world. And efficiencies in a terminal like this can help connect our local exporters and consumers with these global markets.
The goal is by April, things should be moving a lot quicker here. So those items that you've been having a hard time finding, many of which come on these shipping containers, should in theory be easier to get. Johanna Wagstaffe is here now. Joe, any supply issues for you? Anything you're waiting to get your hands on?
Well, I have a lot more understanding after watching your piece, Anita, about why my latest pair of glasses are slow to come. My N+1 number of eyeglasses. Fascinating, though. Anita, I've got to tell you, I lived down by the port for 9 years until last year, and I really missed seeing the working. So I'll have to get my almost 3-year-old to watch that. I think he also misses seeing all the activity on the dock. Let me get you to the forecast. We have a changing forecast. I know it's been gray and drizzly for a couple of days now. Nice to see that sunset last night. And for those of you who caught that snow moon rising yesterday evening, it was glorious. That was it for the sun for a while. 9 right now at YVR. So we get to keep the fairly mild temperatures. But what we have coming is a system sliding down our west coast that will bring more rain for Saturday. So there's that big old low moving into northern sections of BC. It is going to bring some fresh mountain snow to both of our ranges, much needed after a few weeks of a bit of a snow drought after such a snowy start. But just pausing you, Saturday, 7 a.m., you can see all of that rain moving into the south coast across the island. That will translate to snow for our local mountains and for the interior. So what this means, a lot of precip coming. Now, the next couple of days, we won't see much in the way of precip. I'm just running this through Saturday into through Friday into Saturday, I should mention, and notice all the snow confined to the north. So we're just looking at drizzle Friday and Saturday before things ramp up Friday into Saturday. Sunday and Monday actually looking pretty good. We just have to get through some lingering showers Sunday morning. And then we actually have a pretty decent holiday Monday, Anita. Back to the sunshine for most of next week.
Awesome. That sounds great. Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
So here's a bit of a bizarre story to chew on. One sturgeon tagger in the Fraser Valley had the most astounding sampling day of his life when he came across a 6-foot sturgeon acting like a cannibal. The tagger was near the Golden Ears Bridge when he found that dinosaur of a fish floating belly up with a juvenile sturgeon shoved down its throat. He thought both fish were dead, so when he went closer to touch it, the big one jolted back to life and swam away with the small fish still in its mouth. The Fraser River Sturgeon Society says this was the first time they've ever seen such a sight with an adult sturgeon. They say this has to do with depleting of food supplies in the Fraser, with salmon and eulachon returning in fewer numbers. But they also mention the possibility of last November's floods altering the habitat.
And it's a real signal to the health of the Fraser River, so it definitely makes us pay attention. And if you think about the recent floods in November and the issues around all of the impacts to people, families, farmers, the impact to the habitat that salmon and sturgeon use was very profound.
The Society says the sturgeon population will continue to decline unless the health of the Fraser River improves. You're looking at a live shot of Ottawa right now. Streets completely blocked as tension escalates and protesters stick around for a third straight week. Why they aren't deterred by the potential fines. That's next. Thanks for staying with us during our commercial-free live stream. With the Winter Olympics wrapping up this weekend, the Paralympic Games are just around the corner. And already, there's a lot of excitement around Canada's para-ice hockey team. Travis McEwen introduces us to a young Edmontonian making his debut on the world stage. Here's his story.
This has been Brandon Sisson's goal, to wear a Canadian jersey and play for its para-ice hockey team. The 22-year-old defenseman started playing 6 years ago and set his sights on making the Paralympics. This week, the team announced its roster for Beijing 2022, which includes Sisson.
It's such a big goal, and I've sacrificed so much, like leaving school to go do dev camps, not being able to apply to jobs because of how rigorous our training schedule is and how much, not a lot of time we have. So it just means the world to me that I was able to make the cut and to represent my country now.
Sisson was born without the fibula in his right leg, which led to an amputation below the knee when he was a toddler. During the pandemic, he's been driving from Edmonton to Calgary almost every week during the winter months, just to train and practice with some of Canada's players and coaches.
When I enjoy something, I get attached to it and build up that passion for it. And then through the club system in Edmonton, I worked up to Team Alberta. And then through Team Alberta, I got connections with the national development team.
He's shown dedication and commitment. The national team's head coach, Ken Babby, says that's one of the main reasons he made the Paralympic roster.
He brings a good physical presence to our defense corps. He's a spunky guy. He likes to battle and make contact, and we need some of that. And he put the time in to improve his game, so to speak. And he's done a lot of work in the background to get here. So very proud of him, and everyone should be proud of him in Edmonton for sure.
Some folks involved in local para-ice hockey aren't surprised by how quickly Sisson made the Paralympic roster. They hope it inspires other local players to get to that level.
It's just going to help get more people interested, because I know there's a couple other guys that are right on the bubble from Edmonton and then on Team Alberta that probably could be invited and be fighting for a position in a spot just like Brandon.
The team is currently practicing in a bubble scenario in Calgary. It heads to Beijing in a little more than a week before opening the games against the top-ranked United States. Travis McEwen, CBC News, Edmonton.
Demonstrators are still blocking the streets in front of Parliament Hill in Ottawa. It's the third week of the protest, and the police presence has increased over the last day or so. As Ashley Burke reports, authorities are repeating warnings that the protest is illegal and that demonstrators face fines, arrests, and the seizure of their vehicles.
More barricades going up, more warnings going out, and more police out on the streets.
I'm just disturbed. I'm upset. I'm really sad for what might possibly happen today.
It's an uneasy calm before police make their move and try to clear demonstrators out.
We are at the end of this protest. We will take what action we need to deliberately, safely, lawfully end these demonstrations.
Some have camped in their trucks for 21 days, blocking traffic near Parliament Hill.
They come to my door, I'll go peacefully. I might even give them my keys so they can drive her out instead of tow it.
Today, another stern warning from the government to get out.
This is no place for children. Take them home immediately. Take them to a place of safety.
And you're searching. The Emergencies Act makes it illegal to bring children to unlawful demonstrations like this. The Children's Aid Society has warned parents in the event they're detained to have a plan for their kids.
Haven't really thought about that, have you? I feel perfectly safe. I don't think the police are going to do anything that's going to harm our children. I don't think they have it in them.
These two sisters have 14 children between them. They're here for the weekend to let their kids witness history.
I'm not going to be stupid. You know, we're watching our kids. You know, we're keeping them close.
Our kids are going to be behind us, not in front of us.
You know, but at the same time, I want to show them that we need to fight for our freedoms. And if we can do that peacefully, amen. That's why we're here.
She's 9, I have 5 girls, and since all this started, I had to pull them all out of school.
This mom gave her kids at home a virtual tour of the protest site.
Show you the tracks.
She says she doesn't want to see children who are here caught between protesters and police.
That would definitely be a huge concern of mine. I would never want to see that happen, and I sure as hope the police wouldn't either.
Ottawa police say their priority is ensuring children are safe. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Lots on the schedule for Team Canada in Beijing today with women's halfpipe and men's freestyle skiing. We've got the preview next.
About a block away from our CBC Vancouver studio is the new and temporary Canada Pavilion. It will promote our country to Olympic visitors. But noted Vancouver architect Bing Tom created a stir when he called the pavilion unimaginative and disappointing. I spoke with Tom earlier today about the city's Olympic architecture, beginning with why he feels the look of the pavilion matters.
You can make a tent with content, with quality. This particular tent is totally uninspired and tepid, and it's not Canada. It doesn't speak about Canada to you. That's the power of architecture. It hits you right in the gut. Either you love it or you hate it, that's it, right? And in his case, unfortunately, it's not just me. Many people have commented. They say, my God, you know, can't we do better than this?
By contrast, Tom praises the new speed skating oval as a showcase for Canadian creativity. The wood here, for example, is from trees riddled with the parasitic pine beetle.
The Richmond Oval works because we did something innovative. So innovative, it won the award for the best structural engineer feat of the year. It beat out the bird's nest, which probably was like 1,000,000 times cost more than the Richmond Oval.
While the bird's nest was the spectacular setting for Beijing's opening ceremony, in Vancouver, it will be held in BC Place, just down the street from where I interviewed Tom. He says he's surprised the outside wasn't dressed up for the games.
How do you add value? How do you add value to something that's very, very utilitarian? It has nothing to do with time or money. It just has to do with working a little harder and using your brains.
Now, a friend of mine who's seen the inside of BC Place just ahead of the opening ceremony says it has been transformed. You would not recognize it. Isn't that all that matters?
It does, but the exterior matters because we forget that, see, the Olympic venues are scattered into many locations of the city. The city streets matter the most. That's the living room of our society. And so these street end views to these major venues are enormously important. Because what are we saying? We're saying Canadian cities are some of the best cities in the world.
And so Tom has a rather simple solution.
I'm suggesting we bring it all alive with wearing anything you have at home that's red. Put on a red hat, put on a red scarf, put on a red jacket. Let's celebrate for what Canada is about and bring out the Canadian spirit. When I'm saying paint the town red, hang out your Canadian flag, wear everything red, it's not nationalism for its own sake, it's hospitality. It's being a good host. All across the country we should do this, not just in Vancouver.
You think that's going to matter, you wearing a red toque?
I think so, because when you're on TV, you have 100,000 people in the audience. That's quantity. But 100,000 people all wearing red, that's quality. That's show business. That's what Olympics is about.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and here's what's in your CBC Vancouver inbox. Celebrate International Women's Day with Michelle Elliott at West Coast Leaf's Breakfast for Dinner, a virtual event on March 8th that supports an equal and just society for women and people who experience gender-based discrimination. Get your tickets at westcoastleaf.org and get Metro Vancouver news that matters to you wherever you are with the free CBC News app. Download it today and stay connected to where you live.
Let's head over to Beijing now as Team Canada comes off yet another Olympic high from their women's hockey team. They defeated the United States in the final last night and won Canada's 4th gold medal of the Beijing Games. There could be more ahead as well. CBC's Douglas Gallivan takes a look at our prospects on the slopes and the speed skating oval.
Early in 2021, Pyeongchang gold medalist in the halfpipe, Cassie Sharp, injured her leg in a competition at the X Games, and it threw into question her ability to defend her Olympic title in Beijing. But all that doubt has evaporated now, as Sharp qualified in 6th place on day 13 and will ski for gold on day 14. She'll be joined in the final by 24-year-old Rachel Carker. The Guelph, Ontario native qualified 2nd and is coming off a silver medal win at last year's World Championships. Halifax native and current Calgary resident Amy Fraser is also in the final. In the men's ski cross, Brady Lehman will be looking to defend the gold medal that he won 4 years ago. This is a 3rd Olympic Games for the 35-year-old from Calgary. Reese Howden is also a threat to win gold. The 23-year-old from Chilliwack, BC, was the Crystal Globe winner for the top skier of the season last year, winning 4 World Cup races. After narrowly missing out on the podium in the 500 meters, Laurent de Broglie will be back at it in the 1,000 meters. He won bronze at this distance last year at the World Championships. After a tough loss to Sweden in the semifinal, Brad Gushue and his rink will play for bronze on day 14. They will take on the 2018 gold medal winners from the USA. This marks Canada's last shot for a medal in curling in Beijing. Eric Radford and Vanessa James will take to the ice to skate in the pairs short program. These two are a new pair. Radford previously skated with Megan Duhamel and won bronze in 2018. James used to compete for France. And fresh off her bronze medal win in the monobob, Christine de Bruyn will pilot her sled in the 2-man on day 14. She has 4 World Cup bronze medals to her name this season. Norway leads the overall medal count by 7 with 29 overall. They also continue to lead the gold medal count with 14. Canada sits in 5th with 4 gold and 20 medals overall. Douglas Gallivan, CBC News, Toronto.
Good luck to all the athletes today, and thanks so much for watching this afternoon. A reminder, CBC Vancouver News is on at 3 p.m. during the Olympics on television, one more day. You can also watch us on demand on our website, Facebook, or YouTube. Have a great rest of your day.